2 RCM case studies. Let's take a look at 2 case studies. These are 2 RCM programs that I started and facilitated, and in both cases, we used a facilitated working group approach. I started my career in reliability-centered maintenance when I was a civilian employee of the U.S. Navy, where we implemented RCM on fleets of aviation common support equipment. These are slides from a presentation that I presented at a maintenance conference in the early 2000s. Here are examples of the equipment we analyzed, units such as tow tractors, mobile air conditioning units, hydraulic servicing units, mobile electric power plants, and man lifts. We started the RCM program in 1997 in response to an initiative called Affordable Readiness. The goal was to reduce total cost of ownership in order to provide funding for modernization and recapitalization. We started with a few pilot projects so we could understand what RCM was all about and what kind of results we could get from it. And the results we got were overwhelmingly positive. Let's talk about those results. The yellow bars here represent the number of scheduled maintenance man-hours per year per unit before we did RCM, and the blue bars represent scheduled maintenance man-hours per year per unit after RCM. You can see that there's a drastic reduction. On average, we reduced proactive maintenance by 74%. This significant reduction was possible because the maintenance schedules were full of scheduled replacements and scheduled restorations. In many cases, there were tasks that technically weren't the right thing to do at all, and then there were others where we were able to extend the intervals. So to begin with, there was a lot of room for improvement. With this kind of reduction in proactive maintenance, the amount of consumables required was drastically reduced as well. For example, we needed fewer rags and oil and filters. We saw a total average reduction of 86%. Additionally, there was a big reduction in hazmat disposal. On average, a total reduction of 79%. These are results from the first support equipment analysis. On the 30 Alpha aircraft tow tractor, you can see that the scheduled maintenance man-hours were reduced from over 27,000 man-hours to 9,000 hours, a reduction of 66%. But what's more important is that unscheduled maintenance man-hours also went down. This shows that a lot of the maintenance we were doing prior to RCM was unnecessary. RCM principles helped us to determine what was necessary and what wasn't. That's what optimizing maintenance is all about. Here's what we identified was wrong with our maintenance schedules before we did reliability-centered maintenance. They were typically written by the equipment manufacturer or based heavily on manufacturer recommendations. And oftentimes, the manufacturer doesn't understand the operating environment where the equipment is going to be used or the operational tempo. We found that our maintenance plans were sometimes templated from similar equipment. Our process was static and our maintenance schedules were out of date. And most of them were developed when it was believed that more maintenance is better, and that resulted in our equipment being over-maintained. Because of our overwhelming positive results, our RCM team won 2 awards: the Navia Logistics Team of the Year Award and the Department of Defense Value Engineering Award. We started this RCM program in 1998, and I'm really proud to say that that program is still growing strong today. The next case study is on the CH-47 Chinook helicopter. We started this program in the early 2000s, and these are some of the first results we had. The following are slides that I presented at another maintenance conference. Just like the support equipment case study, we used a facilitated working group approach to RCM. That is, a multidisciplinary group of equipment experts assembled to carry out our RCM analyses. I facilitated the RCM process, but the equipment experts answered the RCM questions and made the decisions. Our RCM team members consisted of pilots, flight engineers, crew chiefs, mechanics, and the original equipment manufacturer. A facilitated working group approach is the way I recommend RCM be implemented. After all, there isn't one person who knows everything about a piece of equipment. This way, you have all relevant disciplines represented. You have the people in the room who intimately know the operating environment, and oftentimes that can significantly affect the kind of maintenance tasks that are performed and how often they're performed. Before we implemented reliability-centered maintenance, the maintenance plan consisted of a 200-hour phased maintenance program. After RCM, it was changed to a 400 flight-hour cycle service plan and a 200 flight-hour servicing and inspection. The number of phased maintenance tasks was reduced by 73%. Phased maintenance required 50% fewer man-hours to complete. Before reliability-centered maintenance, each aircraft was down for 67 days while the 200 phased maintenance was carried out. With the new maintenance program, an aircraft was down for 19 days for the 400 cycle service program and 10 days for the 200-hour cycle service. Before reliability-centered maintenance, every 400 flight hours, each aircraft was down a total of 134 days for scheduled maintenance. After RCM, every 400 flight hours, each aircraft was down a total of 39 days for scheduled maintenance. The significant reduction in proactive maintenance was possible for many reasons. We eliminated a lot of unnecessary tasks. There were many tasks that weren't technically justified. For example, we eliminated the pitot-static system check. The pitot-static system on an aircraft is a system of pressure-sensitive instruments such as airspeed indicators and altitude indicators. Before RCM, there was a scheduled inspection of the pitot-static system, and we found that the inspection ended up inducing failure. It was eliminated. A lot of tasks were instituted in response to single events. This one, where we were retorquing droop stop bolts because of a bad lot of hydrogen embrittlement. Once those bolts were no longer in the field, that task wasn't necessary anymore and was able to be removed. We extended intervals. For example, we were repacking wheel bearings every 200 hours, and that was able to be extended to 400 hours. And we were able to make a move to on-condition maintenance. For example, instead of replacing brake pads on a scheduled basis, we did it only when it was required. RCM implementation began in 2004, and in August 2007, the CH-47 Chinook helicopter achieved its readiness goal of 75% fully mission capable for the first time ever.